Hello everyone and welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm very excited because we're gonna have another look at some awesome 11 Second Club competition entries. And yeah, there have been some great entries last month. We are having a look at the entries from last month. And yeah, in case you don't know what that is, the 11 Second Club is a competition where they have a new audio snippet around 10-11 seconds every single month, usually taking dialogue from a movie that you can animate to. And it's amazing to see what creative solutions people come up with to do some nice animation. And there's lots we can learn from that. We can see from like some amazing creative ideas and some amazing character animation, what those animators did right to bring their animation to life. But we can maybe also see what some people didn't do the most optimal way and learn what we can improve in our own animation. So, oh, and I see there are a bunch of awesome people already in the chat. Hello 4chan, hello Vivek, Darren, Elvis, Ice Cream Hero, nice to see all of you. I'm really excited for this live stream. Didn't stream in a while, apologies for that. Just so much stuff to do. I hope that things calm down maybe within the month, and then I'm gonna live stream more often, hopefully. So let's jump right in, and oh yeah, I have my nice title animation here. So today we're going to learn from animation mistakes by studying the 11 Second Club competition entries from September. And we're going to start immediately with the winner, September's winner here. Let's see what they did. An animation by Lucas.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're going to say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
There's some very nice poses in here. I'm always, I always like strong poses, so lots of awesome stuff for me to discover here. How does the character get the legs over from the side here? Okay, so there's this frame here where this leg is kind of just coming over, and then the next frame immediately is this one. All right, okay. Yeah, why not? If it works, it works. Hello, Hilly. Nice to see you. Hello, Agus. That's very snappy. But, you know, what makes it work is the overshoot. How after that snappy thing, after this snappy motion, there are a couple frames to catch it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, very strong pose here. That's I like strong posing decisions like this. It has to fit to the animation style, to the scene. Oh, this is a big bold. Let's use this brush. So yeah, I love all these different angles that are coming together here. That's really nice, really cool. I also really like the facial expression in the end. Like this one, the staring into the distance with these lips, with the tension in the lips pressed together. That's pretty nice. Yeah, just to point it out in the beginning, what makes this drop so awesome, that is such a nice drop, but it's basically just a bouncing ball. It's just acceleration. So there's barely any spacing here, and then it gets faster and faster and faster, and see the distance here before the cut is so big. And it's a cut in motion, which is also always nice, you know, cutting, beginning a motion in one shot, then cut to the next shot and conclude that motion. That's very nice. And then we have this big spacing here for her to drop into, and then the shoulders drop as a little overlap. So that's a Very nice drop. Love the touch on the door. Interacting with objects, always pretty cool. So the secret here for both of these touches is also, here's a big spacing before the door is shut. Then the door is shut and then the hand meets resistance, and the fingers are just stuck in place there. Well, they slide a tiny little bit. That's such a nice impact here. So nice to sell So two things that sell this touch. It's this huge spacing here, and then this subtle shift and spread and this little impact in the elbow. That is so nice here. That is nice. I know we do something similar with the shoulder, like she's coming in with the shoulder. Biggest spacing right here. Biggest spacing, and then it locks into place, and we just have a little bit of sliding and rotating around the shoulder. So that's very nice, very cool.
Everybody used to fear and respect me.
Similar thing for this turn here, this turn also. Oh, this turn just eases, and then we have this nice slide. I like the two phases to this gesture. Like, she doesn't go from the hands being down here immediately to the hands being outspread. There are a couple of in-between stages. There's the stage where she just lets the hand come up, hands come down low, and then they go up. Like, there's this sweep here with that hand. That's pretty cool.
Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
And it fits perfectly with the word.
I think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. Scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely work from Lucas, and Lucas will get feedback as the winner from an animation mentor teacher. So let's go on to the next one. Let's see what the second place has in store. By the way, if there's anyone here in the room who entered in the 11-second club and wants me in the September one and wants me to have a look at their animation, you can just tell me what your placement is, and then we'll definitely have a look at your work. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. This is the second place by Nicholas Hausman.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. Scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Really nice.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some...
I really do like how the eyes are being used in this one. Like, look at these eye darts here, and how it's playing with like different places for the character to look at. Hi Adaji. That's pretty cool.
Everybody used to...
And I really love how the eye darts are done here. If you look closely, it just jumps from one frame to the next. Like, eyes very rarely move slowly. They have like these darts. They go like from one position immediately to the next, and yeah, wonderful head turn and an arc. That's very beautiful. Overshoot and drop. And look at the eye motion before she turns her head again. Like this little, like there is something going on inside that head. That's really nice. And then the drop on emotion.
Emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met.
Subtle detail, but for dialogue animation, to have like a little bit of a hand stretch on there, that's so beautiful.
I've ever met. Scared to come out. You're the meanest person I've ever met.
Like she did the gesture. You're the meanest person is the pose where she has the hand outstretched. But then for met, There's this little spread on the fingers, and that's an excellent example for how you don't need new big poses all the time and jump pose to pose to pose, but you can have a pose and modify one a little bit, and if that goes with the dialogue, it transforms it into something very realistic.
Person I've ever met. You're the meanest person I've ever met. You're the meanest
So hits the pose,
person I've ever met.
and then there's this little intensification. It's not just in the fingers, it's like her whole body going a little bit forward. The whole thing is a little bit overlapped. Really nice.
Out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
And this is also very nice to cut away while the other character is still talking, to reveal what's going on in the other person's face. That sometimes a lot of beginners make the mistake that they always only cut to the person that is talking, but sometimes it's really interesting to have a look at the person who is not talking, who's just reacting, and when the reaction and the realization happens, and you see like a little bit of a journey. Like you see the pain facial expression first, then it's relaxing, and then the smile creeps in, and yeah, then the last position shift before while she starts talking. So that's a really nice choice to cut away for that.
I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. Some really cool, subtle stuff in there. I really like it. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. Oh, 2D animation by Gabby G.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you for subscribing, Arv.
Everybody.
Hello, Dylan. Yeah, Adaji, let me know which place you made, and we will have a look at it.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I do like first of all, the contrast of the character design is so nice in this one. I really love the contrast of these small inward curved lines. That's such a nice shape language here, and it really fits to, you know, how these legs are built. And then in contrast, we have these big round shapes of the bear. That's really nice. By the way, inward curve here. We have a good contrast of like different curves, straight lines against curved lines. Like that's a really pleasant shape language to look at. Really lovely. You know, almost straight line here, and then the curve is coming in here. That's beautiful shape language. Really like that. And then something that isn't so easy in 2D animation are these long, slow motions.
Everybody used to fear and respect me.
Probably on force or something.
Everybody used to fear and respect me.
This slow head turn, and it feels three-dimensional. That's really awesome. And I think the thing that sells this the most is the placement of the eyes. And the snout, the nose in relation. So you go from this, you know, especially look at the distance. Look at the different distance from the nose. And then we have the second one. So now if we take the nose as a measurement for the distance, now they both have a little bit of a distance. It's still not the same. It's still 3/4. But you know, it goes from the line of the snout overlapping the eye to the line of the snout being next to it. Or muzzle, what is it called? And this three-dimensionality really works, really helps this turn. And, you know, it can be so effective to think in some basic 3D shapes and then think about how between the different poses, how do they change in relation from one to another. And then even in 2D animation, your animation can look so 3D.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
I really like the shoulder contrasts here. Like there's this drop, this huge shoulder drop, and stare into the distance. And then the arms come over the head. There's some nice overlap. And it's just such a nice succession of poses. I really like the two-face comforting pose of the other character. How the foot comes in and rests on the bear's arm, and then she comes closer, and that's such a beautiful, a little overshoot exactly on Matt.
Person I've ever
met. And then there's this overshoot there.
Person I've ever met.
And at the same time, together with this overshoot, like this is a stretch up here. We have this side of the character stretching, but this side of the character gets folded up. That's such a nice contrast of motion. So nice. And then it goes wider again. And the foot is planted there, the hoof. That's really nice. And look, there's this like little shrug and shoulder drop. If you just look at her shoulder here.
Scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know.
Which goes wonderfully with the dialogue. Like there's a more of a relax on most mornings. It drops.
Person I've ever met. Scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, very pretty. Do like the different shapes for the bear paws here. So nice, very organic, very nice. Yeah, good work, Gabby. Let's have a look at the fourth place. I will get to you as Adachi in a second.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. Scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting concept. Okay.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. Scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
I think we're getting into the territory where it's a bit too many poses. It's still like, you know, the person who animated this, Jad El Khoury. I feel like I've read that name before. It's like very high level. This person knows their way around in the animation software.
Everybody used to fear and respect.
There's some beautiful like it's not really a smear frame, but it's a well thought out breakdown for the hand to come up in this manner. It's so important to have these frames there, and then there's an overshoot, and then there's relaxing in the fingers. Like this is very high quality stuff. For my taste, there are a bit too many poses here. And especially for such strong emotions, I think it could strengthen this, I think, to leave some poses out. Like the drop here, I'm not so sure about. I wonder if it would be enough to just drop the hand a little bit, but by dropping it all the way down, this animation gets snappy in a part where I feel like a little bit of a breathing room would probably have been good. You know, especially because the hand goes right back up. That I feel like is always a sign that that pose might be too much, that a pose can be cut. If you put the arm down only to put it up again in the next one, sometimes that's cool. Sometimes that's a nice little separator, especially if that is the most important part of the dialogue and the most action of the dialogue. Then it can be cool to go like up, down, up, and have like a little bit of action to stress the most important thing. But, you know, right after we go into this nice and wild thing with the feet, I love that kicking, and I love how it falls together. It falls into this crossed, yeah, not exactly crossed leg pose, but in these nice crossed lines. And there we have the drop. Like, this drop is more important than the drop here. I feel like because we already had a drop here, this weakens that drop. And this drop is more important.
Oh shit. You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me. Person I've ever met. Oh shit. You're the meanest person I've ever met.
I think the hand is distracting a little bit from the face because, like, there's some nice balancing, which is actually not easy to do. Hey, Potato Kitty, nice to see you. Which is not easy to do, to have a little bit of like a wiggling there and animate that. And because the arm is so long and dangling, it gets some motion.
The meanest person I've ever met.
But I really want to see this meanest person I've ever met. I want to see this met. I want to see this accent in the face. But the arm dropping and wiggling just took my distraction, took my attention away, and is a little bit distracting.
The meanest person I've ever met.
Because, you know, the accent is there. It's good. It's great. I love the overlap in the ring up here. That's pretty cool.
The meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
The this hand shape is a little bit unrelaxed. Like, I feel like it's turned a little bit too far. Like, rotating it inward, I think, would make it feel a little more realistic and less broken. Sometimes I do like me some strong angles, but I think this should be more relaxed. You could even turn it further and just have like a pointing kind of thing, like, you know, with the thumb all the way here or hidden. That would feel a bit more relaxed than turning it all the way over. Yeah, but still a solid animation with a lot of know-how, an interesting concept. So yeah, it's pretty great. Okay, so Adachi, because you volunteered, let's have a look at your animation. And again, the offer is that anybody who took part in the September 2022 11-Second Club, please let me know your place, and I'll have a look at it. 49. That's not bad in the top 50. That's pretty cool. This one, Vicent Matosis, this one, Yeah, this is 49. Okay, some 2D animation. I'm intrigued.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the like traditional look. Like it has this really like pencil on paper line feeling. That's really nice.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I would suggest, because you seem to be interested in this kind of thing, you seem to be interested in camera and framing your shot. And at the moment, everything feels a bit lost. Like there's no real film space. We don't know where the people sit in relation to each other. So I would suggest you don't need to draw a background, but I think you need to highlight, to hint at a camera angle. And one of the most effective ways to do this is just with a grid, to just make like some grid lines here. And this way, the character immediately doesn't float anymore in space, but there's like a little bit of a 3-dimensional space. And it could also be nice, like if you want to hint at like maybe there could be a wall right here, like maybe the character's up against the wall, then those sort of grid lines can also help a lot. And you know, without having drawn a background, you immediately have a lot more of a world around your character. Without actually having a world, you don't actually need that, but it feels more like there is a floor, there is a wall or a ceiling or something like that, which can make it more haptic, more real, and clear up a little bit where these characters are in relation to each other. Like I almost feel like they should be relatively close. I almost feel like in a shot that is like this, I kind of wonder why I do not see the other person here. So I would assume that the other person is right here with the book, you know. So like even if you don't want to animate with all the characters being there at all time, I feel like it would have been nice to see where they are in relation to each other. Adaji says, previously I thought of putting them both in jail but separate cells. Yeah, interesting. I mean, that would have immediately given it a little bit more of like a perceived story behind it. Sure, why not? And then even more difficult to tell, you know, if you have a wall in the way, how are you gonna tell that in, you know, through the camera? But, you know, an interesting challenge. I like that you have cuts in here. So, you know, this gives you the possibility to play around with what you show when and where do you go when. Oh, showing the cells at the end. Yeah, you could cut it in the beginning as if they are in the same room, maybe. The interesting thing, though, I feel like if two people like in a cell are speaking to each other, they're probably speaking to the wall. Like in some of the gestures, you would probably, you know, the meanest person you've ever met. They would say that in the direction of the wall. So somebody might be able to guess that, rather than, you know, there's a wall and they talk to the other direction. So yeah, interesting challenge, interesting setup to think about. Let's see if we can get into drawing a bit. So depending on what you like to do, I feel like scribbling thumbnails for this could work pretty well, especially if you are inclined to drawing. I would suggest to think about, you know, okay, you have two people in a cell, like, okay, maybe the reveal shot will be something like this, where we see the cells with the wall, and maybe one character is up here, and you know, maybe the other character is just sitting on a bed here, and reading over here. So that could work. Now this is always like the theater shot. Like usually you don't want to animate. Usually you don't want to show your animation in the theater shot, but it's just showing everything from the side as if it was on a stage. But, you know, for the revelation at the end, to be like, okay, now I'm going to explain what the situation is at the very end, that could work very well. Personally, I would always work with these perspective lines because they immediately clear up the spatial relation so much. So before, maybe you both have them on a bed or something, or maybe the other character, like the character with the character A, maybe she's sitting in front of her bed. And if you have characters left and right, you would usually this could be interesting. Like, okay, I'm doing the theater shot again, which I don't like so much, but you know, just to orient ourselves. So we have the character here having the arms across the head, being like this. And I like how we could maybe misdirect the people to think that the bed that we see here is the same bed that she's sitting on. So, you know, maybe the misdirection could work like that. Hello, Maria. Nice to see you. So, and then we could go in even more. And now the other thing is, you know, I told you the theater shot is not the best kind of shot that you can do. So what can you do instead? Instead, we could take the camera, because at the moment, you know, both cameras, like if we look at this from above, we have the cell. All right. By the way, feel free to stop me at any moment. Like if you don't like your work being overanalyzed in this manner, let me know. I really don't want to put you on a spot here. So what we could probably do is have like a floor plan like this. So this is where the bars are of the cell. Then I would think about, okay, so character B is sitting on the bed. Maybe she's sitting in the other direction, you know, with the legs being in that direction. So she could talk over the book to her. And then the other character is leaning against the bed here, having her crisis like this. Okay, so so that camera, or let's really put numbers on it. Let's say the people are A and B, be. And the camera 1 is the one that would be all the way out here. And what we have done basically for this one, actually let's turn her in the other direction, leaning away from the help that she could potentially get. So everything we did for camera 2, for shot 2, was we put the camera closer. Actually, we put it in the cell. Like this maybe. Okay. Adaji says, you're drawing exactly what I wanted to do, but eventually didn't have the time. Yeah, I mean, the time is always too short, isn't it? Actually, though, this should be the very first thing that you do, because doing this later can be a little bit tricky, like especially in 2D, if you realize like, oh, I drew this in the wrong angle, another angle would be better, like that can be frustrating. And to avoid that frustration of, oh, I can't bend it to that cinematography that I want, to avoid that, this should be the beginning of the process. This is pretty boring as a shot. You know, all we did is we put the camera closer. That's all we did. But to get a more interesting shot, you could think about changing the camera angle. And of course, this makes it also more challenging to draw. So how about we come more from above, and I start that by putting in the floor and have the character, you know, maybe we're relatively close because we don't want to give too much away that this is not in the same cell. So I think I would be a lot closer than you are in most of the shots. Like, I feel like this is already too far because you would already expect to see the other character's feet. But, you know, to see the pose from above. So, you know, that would be a possible angle. We can also think about, like, how would it be to look up to her, like to make clear that maybe she's looking down, like stare into the ground. And, you know, this makes whatever is going on in her head really big and meaningful. Hilly says this is basically storyboarding, isn't it? Yeah. And it's interesting how in the 11-Second Club, you know, the 11-Second Club is an animation competition, not a storyboarding competition. But in a professional production, there would be a storyboard before you animate. So I heavily advise at least having like a thumbnail storyboard. That can make a huge difference. So I do like this with the knees being so big. I think this could be really nice. And then, you know, we would have that ceiling here, and maybe, you know, they have like some crappy like fluorescent light kind of thing. What kind of light do they have in? They probably don't have light bulbs or anything glass inside the cell, so I guess you wouldn't see a light. But, you know, if you cut from this one, so where would that camera be? That camera would be like here, almost between her legs. So this would be camera 3. And, you know, in this one, if you cut from this one, then to the other person, you would probably assume that they are in the same room. Maybe you can see the edge of the bed here. Maria says, I'm very simplistic in my presentation this month, concentrating the best I can on grit and actually finishing enough for complete lip sync. Yeah. Yeah, you know, sometimes you have to prioritize what you can get done in a month. Yeah, and then for cutting to the other character, you know, again, the boring one would be to put the camera here. But to get something more interesting, and we don't want to go over the shoulder or anything like this because that would reveal what we're doing here. So let's try a slight looking down on her slightly. There's a question about how to do anatomy. Confuse guy to anatomy of the lineup practice. I'm not sure I can completely follow your question, but if you want to learn anatomy and how to plan your drawing, I can really recommend a YouTube channel, Proco. Proco also have online classes, like paid online classes, one of the best anatomy classes that you can get. So I can really recommend that. And we have somebody spamming in the comments. Oh boy, what can I do about that? Stan Prokopenko is his name. Really good anatomy lessons, also free anatomy lessons. All right, okay, so and then we would have the bed here, and you know, this also would make it very clear that we are looking onto a plane, and then maybe we have the cell like that. Okay, so yeah, but then you know, you need to very carefully plan your anatomy, and you know, having blocks like this I think can really help. There are different kinds of systems how to do this. Which can really help to construct things anatomically correctly. But you know, by making everything like this is not anatomy, not really. But by making everything out of blocks, you can make sure that you can then track like just this lower arm shape and make sure that the lower arm shape animates well over a couple frames. So yeah, like constructing things like this can really help to make the animation more solid. I do like I find it so interesting that your lines are so gentle in a way, but at the same kind, there's like a psychological intensity here. I do like those steep lines where you have them. That's pretty nice. I love that shape. And you know, you have a really good feeling, I feel like, for these edges in the anatomy. I really like that. In time, unfortunately, this physicality that I feel from this single drawing
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they
dissolves a little bit because yeah, you don't have a lot of eases where I think you would need them. For example, this foot going over to the left, there's just this one spacing and there's no ease. There should be 2 or 3 frames where if this is the frame this is the position that you're aiming for, there needs to be a frame before where the spacing was really small, really close, and then, the spacings need to be bigger and bigger. Like, this is the smallest spacing, this is slightly bigger, this is even bigger. And this will give you a very pleasant slide over of the foot. And same thing for the overshoot later. And then the foot is going up in the air and then down, or what is happening here? What exactly? Oh, and then in one frame, the knees just jump up. Like in one frame, you have the knees here, and in the next one, you have them up there. Which, I mean, I do like the idea, the pose of her dragging the knees towards her body, and that's a really nice beat, but animation-wise, it's just jumping up there. So what you would have a motion over several frames that would have an ease. And usually you have an ease on both sides. So if we would use a timing chart, and the halving method is always very good to do this. You halve it once for a breakdown, which is the position of the knee exactly in the middle, and then we halve it again a bunch of times on the other sides, and then we know exactly on which frame we need to draw what. So let's read it from top to bottom. Let's say the character on frame 111 is 111 is starting the motion to pull the legs up and to go into this tightened pose. Then we know that we want to have a couple ease frames to kickstart the motions. If we animate on 2s, meaning on every other frame, this one would be 113, 115, 117, 119, 21, 23, 25, 127. So this gives you now your motion starts on 111, and on frame 127 you have that pose with the knees back up and the arms being all the way around, right? And the leg, the head maybe being even closer and the feet being pulled all the way in the front. Adaji said, had to draw everything without image references. That's no excuse for not doing eases. But the other question would be, why not? You have a cell phone, right? It's so easy to shoot reference with a cell phone, and just ask anyone, a friend, a family member who's around you, like, do you have 10 minutes? And then film a bit. Sorry, I don't want to sound that harsh, but it's easier nowadays to make reference than it was like just a couple years ago. We all now have amazing cameras there. So if the pink pose, the pink one is this one. With the pencil line we see through is this one. Let me mark it in black. That's this one. And reading the timing charts, now really easy. We know that for the breakdown here, for the 119, this is the exact middle. And the exact middle is relatively easy. Let's take yellow. The exact middle is relatively easy to draw. So let's track this elbow. This elbow exactly in the middle would be here. Right? This hand and this hand. To draw exactly in the middle would be... Oh no, where is it? It's under there. So it would be like here, coming up there. I mean, you still need to follow anatomy correctly, but this can help to get a vague idea of where things are. Okay, so this is in the middle here, and this hand is coming up. This is the end position there, this is the start position here, and exactly in the middle would be there. The head exactly in the middle would be here. Now, breakdowns get more interesting if you don't put stuff exactly in the middle, if you have nice arcs and stuff in there. I think in this one I don't really see much opportunities for like big swooping arcs. So everything seems to kind of actually end up relatively in the middle. But yeah, following this technique, and the butt needs to be firmly planted, like this should not move. Anything with like ground contract where things don't move should be very solid. And then you have this one. And next, because you did this one, you can go exactly in the middle again. You can see, okay, what is between 119 and 117? 111 and 119 is this one, 117. Frame 117 is exactly, more or less, in the middle of 111, the black one, and the yellow lines in this case. So let's go in with blue and do that. That would be here and here, and the head would be here in the middle. And then you continue like that. 115 is in between the blue line and the black line, like somewhere there. And this gives you the ease of the spacings getting always bigger and bigger and bigger without it vaguely or aimlessly moving. You would have a nice ease out and a nice ease in this way. Yeah, does that make sense? Is this helpful? So yeah, those are basically the two big things that I would advise for you to do, to plan the camera very carefully and then do the spacings very clearly. By the way, the last video in the 2D animation class talks about this, about the timing charts and the spacings. The one with the bouncing monster. There are two videos about timing, and those explain this. Concept in greater detail. Should have done as Richard Williams says and take the long shortcut. What was that again in the book? I don't quite remember. All right. Yeah, if you have any more questions, I'd be more than happy to go back to it. I just want to get a couple others in as well. So if there's anyone else who entered in the 11-second club competition and wants me to critique their work, please let me know what the number of your place is. Now we have next number 5. By Arnov.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, there's some nice poses in here. I'm a pose-to-pose animator, and you know, I know in 3D you can make subtle movements and wobbles, but like in the case here of like the gun in the hand, I feel like I would use this to stress words.
Everybody used to fear and respect me.
Like, this is kind of just vague. This is a bit too vague for my taste. Like, I used to fear and respect me. Like, everybody used to fear and respect me. Like, I feel like if it hits the words more clearly, I don't know. I feel like it heightens the gesture. It gives the gesture a reason. Everybody used to fear and respect me. Like, even if it's subtle, I feel like there should be a little bit of a snap on the word that it is stressing.
Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the mean.
Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest.
I do like the drop, though. Here we have the bouncing ball again with the, you know, big spacing before the impact of the weapon. And we have a little tiny bounce. See, the bouncing ball is everywhere today. You really need the bouncing ball.
Sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met.
I do like that drop and that sigh. That's pretty nice.
You're the meanest person I've ever met.
And how the sigh drops. Like, there's a ease, and then drop. Like, there's a little bit of a snap, a little bit of a bigger spacing on the breathing out.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
And then the slow, well, that's pretty solid. The slow turn, really. And how she just drops the stuff and comes over. Like, that's a nice, talking about arcs, like, that's a nice arc. Really cool.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know.
Hilly, what do you mean about the voice performance? Like, if you make the gesture more snappy. I feel like this one has more snappy, like especially character A, I feel like has very snappy words in it. That's why I would prefer, like, and it does have a snappy drop here.
You're the meanest.
I'm not sure about the concept, like, do they know each other? I guess maybe the space, the cosmonaut, the astronaut is the is irregular there or something like that. I guess that could work.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so nice though. Like arc, 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 and then you have the drop of the hands, see? And then the motion continues of the arc. Like that's, I love that. I love that overlap. Okay, it sounds like you're adding emphasis that may or may not be there. Well, let's have a listen at the, just at the audio.
Everybody used to fear and respect me.
Do you hear that in fear? Like how the F is like held back? Like there is like this little pressed like fear. Like there is some air building up there.
Fear and respect. Everybody used to fear and respect me. Fear and respect me. Everybody used to fear and respect me.
Yeah, I think it has two beats there. It has fear and respect me. I think those can be stressed. The question is, yeah, you don't have to do it like fear and respect me. You don't have to do it that big. And yeah, it does change how you read the dialogue, depending on if you want to do it on fear. Everybody used to fear and respect me. Or if you do like fear and respect me. Or if you do it on both, fear and respect me. The latter might be too much. But I feel like it needs it on one of them. If you just have fear and respect me, I feel like that doesn't do the voice justice. The pressure that is behind some of the words. But yeah, you can certainly influence. Like I find it amazing. Like some animations in the 11 Second Club make the dialogue more intense than it actually is, without actually destroying it. I mean, there are also the cases where it's way too much, where it's going way overboard, and there are the cases where it's way too mellow. But there is like a range, and I find that very interesting. There's a range where you can be a little more forceful than the dialogue is, and it still looks right. It's still like it has the right amount of force, but you actually push the force, and you can mellow it down a little bit, and it still looks okay. You know, if it doesn't go too much in either direction, you can definitely soften it or make it harsher with the decision that you make in the animation. So yeah, you can change the dialogue, I think, in this way. Night themed is about asking about the bouncing monster tutorial. Yeah, the fun thing about the bouncing monster tutorial, it's recorded. I have it all recorded. But the time when I recorded it first live and I commented over it live is interesting, but far too long, and I want to make a shortened to the point version where, I mean, you know, my shortened to the point versions are still 15 to 20 minutes long. But, you know, to really make it a resource that gets to the point, that has everything as clear as possible, I still work on rewriting the text for it. And making it more focused and precise and exact. And I know that a lot of people are waiting for this tutorial to continue. But yeah, I just hadn't had the time lately, unfortunately, because I have one big project to take care of, which is hopefully done in a month or two. And then I will definitely finish that. But yeah, I feel like it sometimes slows me down when I'm like, I want to make the ultimate tutorial about cleanup and, you know, really narrow it down. Doing a live stream nowadays feels much more like there's not that big of an obstacle to just start it. And yeah, and you know, I've already recorded all the footage of how I do the bouncing monster, and to go through these hours again and cut them down, I don't know, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna continue it, definitely. There might also be a live stream before that where I go to a similarly simple animation, and we might take that all the way to cleanup too. So Yeah, but it would be a live stream. It would be not 50 minutes, but, you know, hours. Alrighty. But yeah, I'll go work on it, promise. New Twitch follower. Hello, Chip Weenie. Nice to see you. Actually, I need to make sure that I can see comments from Twitch because they sometimes slip under my radar. Let's make sure I have that active. All right. There was my cat. Did you hear my cat? Ah, yeah, I can see your comments. Hello, Chippy Weenie 94. Nice to have you on board. Yeah, so let's jump to the next one. Oh yeah, Maria made a good point. The existing relationship and situation is so much part of the challenge in the 11-second club. You have to establish something in a very small amount of time. Yeah, I really do love that, you know, an astronaut and a waitress. Like, yeah, that's a creative solution for this. Future 3D animator and game dev here. Yeah, welcome. Cool. You're just starting with 3D animation. That's exciting. Awesome. We're gonna hopefully have some 3D animation tutorials also on this channel soon. As soon as this big other project is done. Oh, we have some, I would assume, rigged 2D rigs. That could be interesting.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Those are some nice rigs. I do like them.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most.
This animation by Sarah Peters.
Mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Lovely character design, good rigging. I especially like some, like, look at this head turn. Like, this is a three-dimensional, like it's tilting towards the back. Like, there's a little bit of the way how the eyes are treated that give this whole thing, like eyes and nose, give this a perspective. And that's pretty cool. Overall, I feel like there's a bit too pose to pose. Here I am. On the one hand side, I want to have more pose to pose. On the other hand side, I want to have less pose to pose. There's no pleasing me. And I do like acting wise, that's a really nice idea to have, like, you know, while the other character's freaking out, she feels like a bit hit and uncomfortable from that, and, you know, like braces herself, holds onto herself, and then when she reaches out, that's a point where I think it's too pose to posy. Like, we have this beautiful reach out, which is, you know, acting wise, that makes so much sense. The character's connecting, it's like, hey, calm down, it's reaching out, and then you immediately break that again. I feel like this would be much stronger if it would be held and you would just continue to build on this pose, like lean in a little bit further, away again, but still have the hand over there. You know, you could hold the pose like this and still have a lean back and have that other pose, you know, with the arm like this. You can build that on top of that reach out pose. And I think that would strengthen that gesture if you keep that there. Ah, you just started university a month ago. That's really fresh. Yeah, good luck. Good luck with that. Lee says, I recognize those characters. Oh, is this maybe a YouTuber using their characters? Or is it a fan art kind of thing? Tashin asked, what is the name of the application or program? So we are on the 11 Second Club website, and to draw over things, I'm using Epic Pen. That's a software that allows you to draw on screen.
Scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't have that drop here because, you know, like, what's the dialogue?
Scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Because I feel like this is like the reach out. Like, I'm giving you this. This, like, I don't know what you would say to me. And then, like, kind of waiting, like, sure, drop it a little bit, have it settle in, have a variation of the pose, but then immediately going to yeah, like, from there. I think there's no need to drop to a default pose.
Most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
I don't know what you're gonna say to me. Like, this is so strong. Like, makes sense with the dialogue. This is just a default pose. Like, you know, that pose doesn't carry much information. This one does. What you gonna say to me? Huh? Like, I give you that information. And it has this you and me aspect in there. That's just such a strong pose. And then it drops to this generic pose that has no information about the characters and the situation. And then yeah, I do like the idea for the pose, and that it slides over and that it gives that triangle in the legs. Oh, free models. Okay. Yeah, that could be. Free models for 2D animation program. I don't know what animation program this is. Could be Moho, could be Harmony. It could be OpenToons. I heard there's some pretty crazy stuff possible with it by now. Alright. So, I just wanted to mention that if you want to support me, you can do that at patreon.com/animatorisland. And yeah, by supporting me in this way, you help me so that I can make more live streams, more tutorials, and yeah, I have some pretty exciting stuff planned. To be completely honest, that's gonna start in like 2 months from now. So, you know, it's not like the next 2 months are gonna be the most exciting months content-wise. But yeah, I have exciting things planned, and if you want to help me to start these things earlier and do more stuff and put more stuff in, more time into Animator Island, then supporting me on Patreon is a great way to do that. We also have the group mentoring. You can find out more about that on animatorisland.com/group mentoring. This is a monthly call, a monthly group mentoring session where I can annotate your work, give you critique and feedback on your character designs, your animation, your story idea, help you to improve it, give you some tips and tricks on how to sharpen your skills in general. And yeah, that's the group mentoring tier on Patreon. If you join that, you're invited to a group mentoring call every single month, and you can improve the projects that you're working on and your skills in general every single month. Yeah. Sandy tells us what these rigs are. Cubum Lee characters in Toon Boom. Okay, cool. Yeah, really nice. And I mean, you know, Toon Boom Harmony, that's the industry animation software. Really good thing to do. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. by Fernando.
Everybody used to fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I really like this one. I really like this one. Do you know why? Because it is building on existing poses. Like, it's not doing big new poses every 10 frames. The variation comes completely from the hands. The knees slide up and down at the right moments, which I feel is pretty cool. It gives us like this interconnected feel. But then, you know, the arms are what drives the gestures, and the tilt of the shoulder and the head. Like, that gives all the variation I feel like you need. And it's done with all the pressure and all the accents, all the hits on the words that you need.
Everybody used to fear and respect me.
Like the snap on fear.
To fear and respect me.
And then respect me goes together with the arm being placed there. And then for me, there's this pull back, which is pretty cool.
Fear and respect me. Now they think I'm some...
Oh, and I love this little like pose, like respect me, and then there's like this, like there's a little breath.
Me. Now they think...
Like, you know, the person could have just closed that mouth, but it's going into like a little bit of an O shape, like a little bit like I'm thinking what to say, like what is the next word?
Fear and respect me. Now they think
and there's this breath, it's also in the voice, it's in the audio.
Now they think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
And I love the accent on sad. I love that finger fan.
Think I'm some sad sack of emotion.
You're the...
And then it goes back to the hand being there, but it puts it to an extreme now with the head coming down. And then the head is coming down in the cut that nicely glues the scene together. She leans over.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room.
And she holds it for the entire sentence. Like, the entire sentence is her touching.
You're the meanest person I've ever met. I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say.
And, you know, the touch is only released for the next aspect.
I'm scared to come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
I like, this is so, like, you know, I said so many times, like, be careful if you just flash a pose or a hand gesture really quickly. But here it works.
What you're gonna say to me. My room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
And then this eye dart up. I really like this one.
Come out of my room most mornings because I don't know what you're gonna say to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody used to fear and...
Yeah, I really like this one. Don't know exactly which spot it was, but that's pretty cool. Okay, is the application you're using suitable for weak and medium devices? Well, Epic Pen, which is just an annotation tool, is working on. I don't think it's very resource hungry. Like the 3D animation stuff that we're seeing here, that can be pretty heavy on a machine. You know, animating 3D can be quite difficult for a PC. But, you know, you can download Blender if you want to get started with 3D animation and see for yourself. Try some stuff. Or OpenToons is the 2D animation equivalent. If you're interested in drawing frame by frame, then OpenToons is a good pick. Both are free, so you can just start and see. Epic Pen is only for analyzing and annotating, and costs money. At least the pro version. Yeah, so that's it for today. We saw some really interesting things today. We saw again, we saw some stuff that was too pose to pose. We saw some strong stuff that didn't have so many poses in there. But then, there was this one pose flash in there, which I thought was really interesting. I really want to crack down on this when how that works. Yeah, we thought a little bit more about how to plan a shot. I can really recommend everyone doing this. Like, really think about a floor plan. Really think about a floor plan, like where are your characters in relationship, where are the cameras. Don't just put your camera closer, also use angles, and just a couple of grids can be so effective in placing your character in three-dimensional space. So I think that was pretty interesting. We had to dive into timing and spacing with a timing chart, which that's certainly something that I want to explore in the next couple, well, maybe not in the very next live stream, but we're definitely gonna animate more stuff in 2D. We need to get that cat animation done. Oh, we really need to get that animation done. But, after that, we're going to do something new, and we're going to have a special look at timing charts, because that's something that I get asked again and again. I just was teaching animation the last couple of weeks, and this was kind of the one where, the students had the most questions, and I realized, like, I sometimes might gloss over things a bit too quickly. And yeah, with that knowledge, I'll try to explain it again a little bit better, and also for you guys here on the channel. Yeah, so I had a lot of fun. It was great to look at these beautiful animations with all of you, and all these wonderful, wonderful things in the chat. I really enjoyed it this time, and I'm very much looking forward to the next one. I can't promise that it's going to be more regular from here on. I try. But yeah, in 1 month or 2 months, that big project is over, and yeah, can hopefully do lots more Animator Island. That is the plan. Yeah, thank you all so much. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Hilly. Thank you, Adachi, for being so brave and asking for a critique. That can be very scary. I'm really glad you did. And yeah, good luck to all of you with your animation journey, and keep on animating. See you next time.